It all starts with something very simple, which is the power over yourself. If you have no power over yourself, then you're at the whim of everything else in this world, right? Mm-hmm. We have this innate propensity for wanting to expand beyond our limits. We want to feel like we have some degree of ability to influence other people, that we can control our own career and learn more and develop greater skills and have more kind of power and influence in our life. If you don't know what you were intended to do in life, like what your career was that meshes with you well, right? You're going to be making all of these wrong decisions, and people will do things to you that you won't be able to understand why you're reacting the way you're reacting. It all starts with something very simple, which is the power over yourself. If you have no power over yourself, then you're at the whim of everything else in this world, right? Mm-hmm. So what does that mean to have power over yourself? Well, and this is a lot of what I talk about in the daily laws. It begins with something very simple, which is you have to know who you are, right? So you're walking around in this world. You don't know really who you are. You don't know what your needs are, what you really desire in your life, because you're a product of social media. You're a product of what other people are telling you you should like, what your parents tell you, what your friends tell you. You don't know who you are, what drives you, what really motivates you deep down. And so you're kind of wandering in life. And when you're unmoored from yourself, everything else will affect you in a way that you cannot control, right? If you don't know what you were intended to do in life, like what your career was that meshes with you well, right? You're going to be making all of these wrong decisions, and people will do things to you that you won't be able to understand why you're reacting the way you're reacting.
Yes.
You'll get lost. You'll end up in blind alleys with your career, and you'll go, man, I'm so helpless. I have no power. I have no control. The world is against me. It's 2021. It's the pandemic. No, it's you. It starts inside of you. The real problem is in you, not in the world, right? You don't know who you are. And it's not easy. I have sympathy for people because we're so distracted. We're so much in our phones. We're so much listening to what other people are telling us is cool on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, etc. We're like creatures of media. We've been programmed. We don't know really what drives us anymore. We're so tuned to what other people are telling us is what we should be interested in, right? So it's not easy. It takes some time. It takes some reflection, right? That means that you have to have the ability to step back, be alone with your thoughts, and as this book is talking about, meditate and reflect on your childhood, on who you are, on the mistakes you've made, on the wrong career paths you've taken, on the wrong relationships you've taken, and begin to construct an image of that real secret inner, the true Lewis Howes that lies buried deep within all the bullshit that people have added onto it. If you can't control yourself, if you don't know yourself, you can't control your own emotions. You're going to be reacting to everything that comes your way without understanding why you're doing that. So when you know yourself, you know, I don't need to get angry about this because it's not something that touches me personally. It doesn't matter in the end. Whereas if you don't know who you are, everything affects you personally, and you're getting grumpy and insecure and bitter and resentful. You have to start with yourself. It goes back to the ancient Greeks and the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself.
Right.
What makes you an individual? What makes you different? Your uniqueness. That's what the first month in the Daily Laws is about, the month of January. So if you look at people who are successful, you look at a Lewis Howes, or you look at a Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or whomever, you say to yourself, there's nobody else like them on the planet. You may hate Elon Musk. You may think he's an egocentric maniac. But you can't tell me there's another person with with that kind of guts,
right? With
that kind of confidence and with that kind of vision, right? Okay, because he's one of a kind, right? and you're going around trying to imitate other people, trying to do what you think other people are doing, you're running away from your source of power. What makes you unique, what makes you even weird, what you may even be afraid of because it's so different from other people, is your source of power. It's what makes you a Superman or woman or whatever. Yes. So I don't want to talk about myself too much because who's interested in that, but I write books that nobody else has the same kind of structure or the same kind of approach. That is my source of power. And very early on, it was threatened. I wrote the 48 Laws of Power. We finished it in 1998. The publisher had already purchased it, but they came back and they go, Robert, this book's a little weird.
Yes.
The structure, the things on the side. We want you to change it. We want you to make it more like other books out there. And me and my partner, the guy who packaged it, he backed me up and we said, no, we'll walk away from the deal. We'll find someone else. Because we knew that being different was the key to making this book a success. It could very easily fail. It could have bombed, but it would have failed in the right way, which is being yourself, doing something different, standing out and not being afraid of what makes you unique. I graduated college. I wandered around Europe, kind of trying to write the great American novel. I lived in Paris, I lived in Spain, I lived in London, had all kinds of seductions. I had a great life, a lot of fun. Then I come back to New York, it's time to get serious. I get into journalism. I kind of started off successfully. I worked at Esquire, but then I didn't really like journalism and it kind of wasn't working. And then after 4 years, I go, this isn't right for me. Go back to Europe, I wander around, I try to write another novel, fail again. I come back to LA to try and make it in the film business, and it doesn't work well, and I'm a failed screenwriter. I work for various film directors, but I can't sell a single one of my screenplays.
Wow.
And here I am, 35, 36. I have a lot of skill. I've learned writing for film, I've learned writing for journalism, I've been writing novels. I have skill, I have discipline, I have research ability, but I have nothing to show for it. Right. Absolutely nothing. I was a nobody. And this man whom I met, who, I've told the story many times, I pitched the idea of the 48 Laws of Power. He thought it was great, but there's a big difference between pitching something and making it happen. But because I had been so disciplined and I'd been writing all this time, I could actually, meet his expectations and write a proposal that would get him excited. But I had nothing to back up to answer your question, I had nothing to back up my confidence that this book would be good. Just simply having a sense it's a book about power, and I understood instinctively that power is about kind of going your own way. Enter action with boldness. That's going to be one of my chapters. Then I'm going to be all weak and timid about my book and how it has to be like other books, that I'm a hypocrite. So I was bold, we were bold, and it turned out well. Deep down inside, I always had kind of a weird faith in myself. I always had a sense that there was a destiny, that my life was following a certain path, that there was something fated to happen. Maybe it was a little bit grandiose, maybe it was kind of overconfidence, because it would swing up and down. I would go from confidence to the deepest depression. But deep down inside, I never gave up because I knew I had something in me. Now if the 48 Laws of Power hadn't worked, I don't know if I would have gotten my act together.
Wow.
I might have been crushed by it, to be honest with you. Or maybe I would have picked myself up like I had picked myself up 30, 40 other times in the past, when people told me, like this one editor, Robert, you're never going to be a good writer, you should go into business or law school. I've been crushed several times and I picked myself up. But, I don't know if that might have been the nail in my coffin, literally, at that point. But I had a voice inside of me saying, you can write. I know you can write. I've seen you write, Robert. I've seen you write great things. You've never put it together. You never made it consistent, but you have a voice. And that inner voice of mine might have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like I could barely hear it, but it never left me. So if you know that you were destined for something, that you were fated for something, that you have a sense that your life had a meaning, a purpose, then you can withstand the traumas, the setbacks, the difficulties, the bullshit criticism, and all the other things, right? So in Mastery, I talk about a very simple fact. When you were born, you have this DNA that will never be replicated in the history of the universe.
Crazy.
There will never be another person with your exact makeup, Lewis Howes. And on top of that, no one will ever have your exact parents and your upbringing and your early life. So there's only one of you that's ever existed, right? And that there's a reason for that, there's a purpose behind it. And the purpose behind it is our culture, the same thing as in nature, thrives by the diversity, the people coming into it with different angles, different perceptions, different ideas. That's what makes a culture creative, etc. It's why the Renaissance was so great, all right? So it is a purpose for you being who you are. And it may not be that you were destined to be Napoleon or a president or whatever, but there is some kind of greatness in you waiting to come out. And it could be just on the level of working with your hands. Working with your hands is a great skill. To be a master carpenter, to be a master builder with wood or whatever, that is a form of greatness.
Absolutely.
A great deal of the 48 laws of power, I'd say, maybe 2/3 of them are not manipulative, have nothing to do with deception. They have things to do with kind of common sense ideas about power, such as being generous with people, such as creating compelling spectacles, such as entering action with boldness and kind of how you present yourself, sort of things about your image and your appearance. But there are definitely some laws that are quite manipulative. And then my other books don't really go into things like that. So it is a bit of a distortion to write that. But where this comes from is basically, I have a particular idea of power. So maybe I should explain that a little bit. My idea of power, it's not about this kind of grand thing of political or war or something. It's on a very individual level. And the idea for me comes from Nietzsche and his idea of the will to power, which he explains as every organism has a desire to expand itself, has a desire for expansion. And so I think that for human beings, the desire that we have this innate propensity for wanting to expand beyond our limits. We want to feel like we have some degree of ability to influence other people, that we can control our own career and learn more and develop greater skills and have more kind of power and influence in our life. The feeling that I cannot have any power or influence over my children, my spouse, my colleagues, my boss, my career in general is deeply, deeply unsettling for the human animal and causes all kinds of attempts at what I call negative power, passive aggression, etc., setting yourself up as a victim to kind of leverage power in a negative way. And so the problem is, a lot of this comes from Machiavelli, who inspired a lot of the 48 laws. The problem is that we live in a world where this desire for some kind of power butts up against kind of codes of behavior that have gotten stricter and stricter and stricter, particularly in the 21st century, about what is acceptable, about what is politically correct. So we're supposed to appear to be these paragons of virtue, these paragons of fairness and democracy, etc. At the same time, we're all trying to angle for different degrees of power in our work, in our relationships, etc. And so because of that dynamic, we have to be extremely careful in this world. And I compare it to the courts of like Louis XIV, where all of the courtiers, if they're too overt in their power moves, the king will disapprove of them and will not banish them, but they'll be kind of excluded to the corner of the palace. And so the game was to be sort of indirect, to be polite and ingratiating, and if you had an enemy, to know how to kind of very quietly get rid of them. And so this is kind of where the 48 laws of power came out from. So you quoted me, I had like 80 different jobs, probably more like 60, 65. But I saw all kinds of very deceptive games being played continually in the various different jobs I had. And I worked in every conceivable field. And I didn't see any kind of honesty about this dynamic in the human world. And it really kind of irritated me. All the self-help books were sort of describing a world that I never saw existed.